guys. Okay. So would you guys like to state your names before we start?
Yeah. I'm Noah Rosenberg.
And I'm Milana Gerrish.
And what have you guys been organizing, and what was your project in the last 3 months?
For the last 3 months, we've been writing, composing, and rehearsing our original musical, Meadow the Medleys.
And how did this product and idea start?
Well, it started with, we were in a music class together at Anglican, and we realized that, there wasn't like a big project we were working on. We were doing some little things, and both of us kind of wanted to do something extravagant and crazy, and so we kind of joked about the idea of writing a musical because that sounded insane. And then the more that we thought about it, the more we realized that, we probably could do that. So we just went for it.
And so far, have you thought that it was successful? Are you guys happy with how it's turned out?
Oh yeah, definitely, because of him. Creative writing and all that.
And who was were you guys a partnership? Was someone above the other, or what was it like during this process?
I honestly think that if either party was not here, they couldn't happen. I mean, we both worked incredibly hard, and I would say equally, definitely,
I think we balance each other out, because at least he has these extreme ideas that might be a little too much for our school, but
and you're there to mellow them out.
All right. And coming into this project, were you guys expecting it to turn out this way? Were you expecting it to be this successful, or what were your initial thoughts coming into this?
Well, I don't know. I think we had never really done anything like this before. I mean, I've never done any project to this extent, and so we kind of just winged it, every part of it, and so I don't know if I had any expectations. I was too caught up in the current deadlines and everything, but I don't know. What did you think?
I was a little doubtful since COVID and all that, but mainly because it's just such a big deal to start a production from scratch and have everyone attend. But as I think the auditions were the first step of wow, people are really wanting something like this. They really want to be a part of a musical, so it kind of took off.
Definitely. And when starting this musical, were there any criterias or themes you guys wanted to put in place when starting this musical?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had 3 main goals. One was that we wanted it to be really relatable to the two of us, something that we could kind of express through our past experiences. And secondly, we wanted to do something that the audience would feel connected to, that it wasn't something super abstract that they wouldn't really be able to relate to. So that was the second. And the third was just we wanted to do something that actually was good, because we've been in some productions together that were fun but didn't really turn out the right way. So we wanted to do something that actually would work.
Yeah, it's something we could control.
Yeah, definitely. And when speaking about the characters, I'm curious to know about who would you guys consider as the main character in this story? Who would you guys consider as the villain and the protagonist? What would you guys have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, it is a little confusing because, it's about this girl, Meadow, but it's also about her emotions, and I guess towards the end you kind of realize it's about everyone in the school, in her class, dealing with kind of the same struggles. So, but for this storyline, it's just Meadow. She's kind of leading us in this story. Well, it's more her emotions are leading the story.
Yeah, I'd argue that even though Meadow technically is the main character, that positivity has a more crucial role, because you can watch their different character arcs and they really go in tandem, the way that positivity's role kind of develops is directly correlated to how Meadow's character really builds. So in a sense,
confidence.
Exactly. They're really all connected. I mean, and they're all the same person other than the actual different characters. So kind of they're all.
For example, Grace, what is her role in this storyline?
Well, we don't want to make it too black and white, but at least for this time span, she's the villain of the story. But more, it's is kind of getting a look at what people struggle with when it comes to friendships and fitting a certain box in high school, or how to fit in and be popular. Grace's role is kind of to show how she wants to sort of balance between her and Meadow, to kind of show how she's a lot more popular, more exciting. So
Definitely.
kind of shows that kind of struggle in school, not
Yeah.
the emotional side.
And do you two see yourselves in any of these characters specifically, or do you guys have ever thought about that? Is there any correlation to that?
Definitely. I don't know about you, but for me, I think I kind of adopted Positivity's character in writing her character specifically, and I really was inspired by Angels of America, which is a musical that was a couple years ago, or a play that was a couple years ago, and Andrew Garfield's character is very strongly related to positivity, and this like kind of flamboyant character who has to be positive and cheery, even though she's going through a really, really hard time, and that's something I've always felt, so I really liked her kind of vibe.
So you had a connection
Yeah, definitely.
with that character.
I've definitely I haven't related with a particular character, but more of that friendship between Meadow and Grace. I've experienced it a lot, that like kind of having this overarching friend and kind of being someone else's dummy, like even though we're paired off. But so seeing this play out and seeing Meadow kind of get her moment of triumph at the end, so it's
Must feel
it's
good.
nice to see. Yeah.
Yes. And when actually songwriting and actually writing about the story, were there any struggles you guys faced during this process? Did you guys encounter any roadblocks? What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, well, the first song, Fit In, we actually wrote in the first meeting when we came up with the idea of writing a musical. I kind of just was sitting on the piano, that's where I usually am, and I just started playing chords, and I came up with this kind of syncopated tune that in my head sounded like a clock ticking, and that ended up being one of the themes that's really builds in a kind of like a trio throughout the musical. But so that was actually pretty easy, but there were some songs that took like 5 iterations that
Wow.
I would end up, calling Milana to come over and be like, I can't write this anymore.
Yeah.
So that was very helpful to
Yeah.
have another person who actually was, had
Have an
really
opinion on.
exactly. It was very helpful.
Yeah, the last song especially, because you're supposed to it's a medley, so it's all the different songs together, but also bring in another original tune, and that was really hard.
And when casting the crew, how was that process for the first time? Actually learning how to choose and pick the characters and the personalities you want for these certain roles. How was that?
Oh, well,
Oh, no.
he doesn't like to admit this, but I think he has OCD, and he does expect a lot from actors. The thing is, the problem with having a school play or musical is you don't have many actors, and it's more like people who just want to be involved. I'm not saying that our cast is untalented, they're like amazing. I'm so glad that they're in this. But it's a little harder, and you have more time, you need more time to work on lines and singing and all that. But I was so excited for the auditioning process, because I was trying to make them feel as comfortable and as confident enough, to continue and make them feel like they belong in this. And if you're gonna fit this role, I want you in this role. Like, you're doing an amazing job. Just because of personal experience of not feeling like am I doing this right? No, okay.
And I was a Simon Cowell to that, of being like, no, you're done. But it's good,
It's
combo.
basically positivity and negativity
And
for that process.
were you guys prepared in certain ways to actually reject certain personality because they did not fit the role? Or did you guys struggle in any of that?
I definitely felt, just because I really wanted people who cared about it and were motivated to be in this musical, which most of the people are. I think it was really incredible to see how talented and how, in it they were. But I definitely was prepared to be like, if you don't, meet our standards of like actually wanting to be here, then you're cut. But I don't know if you felt the same.
No, yeah. I mean, I think I was a little more lenient. Like, I don't want to let them go just because we don't have many students in the school who are like so interested or have the time. So letting someone go who isn't up to our standards is kind of, I don't know, it's a big cost.
But as we've seen so far with this project, the standards have been kept high and the results have been seen. When starting off with the set itself, what were your expectations when going into this project? How were you guys imagining and picturing the set?
Well, one of the reasons we chose a school was because, well, we're already doing it in a school, so it makes it a lot easier just because we didn't have a huge production crew, which now we have. I think it's almost 10 or 11 people in it, which is really cool. But because it was a school, we just wanted to look like an authentic vibe environment, which was actually pretty challenging in the end, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have the clock theme, and then for sadness, we're in the middle of building a window frame, so it kind of gives her a silhouette when she stands behind it. So there are just different, like, mystical, kind of mysterious elements in it, but for the majority it's just a regular classroom setting and outdoor setting. So.
And with this project coming to an end, are you guys overall happy with how it's turned out to be?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's nerve-wracking because at this point we've given our alls, and it comes down to, you know, the musicians and actors doing their part, which I know they're going to do amazing, but I'm really happy with how everything's turned out. I mean, just seeing the amount of passion in some of the actresses and the incredible talent of the musicians, it just, like, every time I come to a rehearsal or production meeting, I always get, like, pumped for it. I'm like people actually want to be here.
That sounds amazing.
From what I've heard, it's been an absolute joy to listen to and watch. And with concluding this interview, do you guys have any last comments and things you would like to tell to the public about this musical?
I mean, I guess we could talk about just a little bit about Crossroads. Just kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we wanted to, when we were working on this, we wanted it to be entertaining, obviously, because nobody wants to go to a musical and be bored. But we also wanted it to have some kind of meaning and message. And so one of the ideas was that we could take all the proceeds from the tickets, ticket sales, and a bake sale, and put that towards a donation for a organization for teenage mental health in Israel called Crossroads. And kind of researching them and learning more about them has been really, really interesting. They have some fantastic programs about, you know, rehabilitation of teenagers on the streets and career building, and they have a music theater program, which I'm really interested in.
Wow.
And learning more about that and kind of getting to know those people, and maybe in the future including some of those teenagers from that program and projects would be awesome. So.
And it definitely fits with the narrative of your musical.
Oh yeah.
Mental health and emotions in general. So sounds like an amazing opportunity to do so. And when can you guys tell us when the show will be happening live?
June 3rd.
June 3rd. All right. Well, thank you for coming. Hope everything goes well.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Come watch the show.
Yes.